What's up, everybody? It's your boy CB back at another video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you an in-depth guide on how you guys can make yourselves the ideal HUD for however many fingers you use. So I'm just going to jump right into it. The first thing I would recommend is be using at least 4 fingers, because anything less than 4, there's just so many different things that I don't know how you'd be able to do. So for starters, just everyone should be using at least a 4-finger HUD, or else this video probably won't be very helpful for you. So the first thing I want you guys to notice is down where my thumbs are, there's only one extra button, which is this. That's the only button that is like a button. The other thing is this, and there's nothing on the right side. The reason that is because I think your thumbs should only be used for movement, for like moving around with this, or for using the bottom right of your screen to like aim around, to look around, and like for your movement. So basically, I recommend using thumbs only for movement. You can have other buttons there, but it'll just slow you down. Like I used to have my build button right near like here was where my build button used to be, I think. So every time I wanted to switch into build mode, I had to lift my thumb up, hit the button, and then go back down, and that little bit of time was costing me. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to switch up my HUD. So now my build button's right here, as you can see, so I don't have to lift my thumb up anymore. But I made that change like a decent amount of time ago. So that's my first bit of advice for making your HUD. Make sure all your buttons aren't used by your thumbs. Like make no buttons at all. Like the only button that I use a thumb for is this, and that's fine because it's not something that's used. Like in a fight, you don't open up your inventory, so that's why it doesn't really matter. But that's my first tip. So make sure you guys are doing that if you want to have like an ideal HUD. The next thing I want you guys to do is try to divide up how your buttons are with your fingers. Like divide up the buttons so that each finger has like a similar amount of buttons that it's using, or know exactly how many are being used by each finger, so that you guys can make it the best for you. Me personally, my right pointer finger is used the most, for sure, and that's intentional because I have all my building options over here. As you get, like, all this stuff is my building, and this is all used by my right pointer finger. Like these buttons over here, they don't really do that. Like they're not like buttons that are used too often. Like sometimes they use them, but it's really just like my what's it called? Like where my weapons are and where my builds are is all my right pointer finger. And then I use my right middle finger for like this. This is my floor button. It's kind of cut off, but that's where it is. My edit. That's like where my, not traps anymore, but like launch pads and stuff, and that's boost. But like this is where my right middle finger does, and this is what my right pointer finger does, and that works really well for me. I used to have so many more buttons where my right pointer finger was that it would just be a big problem. So I moved a bunch of them over here. Like my right pointer finger, the jump button used to be where this is now, where that 5 thing is. There used to be the jump button there, and that was a big problem. The reason I recommend having your jump button away from where your builds are and stuff is because you want to be jumping and building simultaneously without having to lift up your finger to do both of the things. So my right pointer finger used to jump and build, and that was just a big problem. There was a lot of times where that would slow me down. Like I got really used to it because I'd done it for so long, but eventually it just got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore, so that's why I moved that around. Another thing I recommend is each of my edit buttons is used by a different finger. So I use all 3 of the edit buttons, and each of them is a different finger. And the reason that is because when you go from edit mode to using like the crosshairs or resetting it, every one of those is used by a different finger, because you can do them so fast if they're all with different fingers, whereas it's going to slow you down if you're not using different fingers for each one of those. I'm going to be sure to put in a picture of what buttons are used by each finger to make it even clearer. You might have already seen it by now. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it in, but I will. And I also use the reset button to reset my edits mid-edit if you want to reset them. Some people don't even use that button, but that's up to you. I also think it's important to know which fingers are your strong fingers, because as much as you want to make each finger equal to each other as far as how many buttons and things they do, some fingers are just going to be better. For me personally, my pointer fingers are the best because I've used those for a really long time. Like, I just recently started using my left ring finger, and all it does is jump, and that's fine for me because I think that just jumping with that finger is probably best because it doesn't have that much usage, like as far as like how much it's been used in the past. So having it just jump is good for me for now. Whereas my left pointer finger does all three of these buttons, and that's because I've always used it and it's had like a lot of time to get used to being used. So I want that to be a finger that's like moving around more and doing more, like pressing more buttons and that kind of stuff. Same as where I told you earlier, my right pointer finger uses all these because I'm more comfortable using that. I used to have it do way more buttons and it was just so dumb of me. And my right middle finger, I have just pressing these buttons mainly. I think it does that one too, yeah. But like, it's not that strenuous on it. My right pointer finger does way more than my right middle finger. And I think that's really good to know where your strengths are with your fingers and stuff. Because not everyone has like incredible movement with like all their fingers. So it's better to have the fingers that you are really good with using doing more. And yeah, be sure to let me know if you have any individual comments, as I will try to answer as many as I can because I know every HUD is different. If you see how I have things set up, you might have like your guns and stuff, your inventory slot might be on the left side of your screen, which is fine. A lot of the great players have it over there, but I like to have mine on my right, and I don't want to change that because my finger's been so used to doing that. But you want to make sure that you have buttons that don't interfere with your inventory slot on the same side. That's why, like I said, I put my jump button over here, I have my build button over here, and like my aim button's right there, so I can click on the gun and aim with two different fingers. So it's just like so many things are going to be so much quicker if you're using different fingers. So like none of the stuff I do, I have to press the same buttons with the same fingers, like repetitively. Other than like building, I guess, because you have to tap all the different builds. But I even have that a little bit spread out by using my middle finger to place floors there. But I still like to build with the inventory slots, or whatever you want to call those. And yeah, it might seem a little more intense than it is because these buttons and stuff, but like those aren't like commonly used buttons, so it's not like they really matter that much as far as like where they are on your HUD. But just make sure you can hit them as you can. These buttons, I don't really like where they are, but I don't use helicopters so often that it really matters. It's just important to make sure I can use them when I have to. And yeah, be sure to let me know, as I said, because I'm just kind of describing what works for me and how I make my HUD better for myself. But be sure to let me know if you have individual questions because everyone's different, as I said. I think that I could help you guys a bunch. If you have questions, drop them below. And yeah, that's pretty much it for as far as that. Just make sure that the buttons that you are using don't interfere with each other. So know that like so many different things go along with other buttons, and if you're using the same finger to do like 3 buttons for like one thing that you're doing, that's just really bad, and you're going to want to be spreading them out more so that it's more, you can do them like instantly, like with the editing or like jumping and building and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but that's going to be it for me. Be sure to drop comments down below, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.